Okay.
Okay, cool. Hey everyone, I want to apologize first and foremost. I should have given this speech earlier as we have a lot of new members, but it didn't cross my mind until recently, so I'm going to give it now. And so, welcome. This is JSOM Friday 101. In this course, I will go over how to use pathways, the general roles, or each role that we have in our meeting, what each role does, like go into detail about that, and how to use our website. So first, I'm going to go over how to use our website. So normally, I get to the website by just Googling in JSOM Friday Toastmasters, right? So when you get to our website, if you haven't logged into it before, you go to Members Login, you type in your name, it should be in the system, you just select your name, and then you won't have a password. You just hit Authenticate Login, and it will send an email to you where you can choose to change your password or do whatever, and that gives you access to our website. So on our website, we have a lot of things that people are able to use. First and most important would be meeting agendas. So the meeting agendas is where you go if you don't attend a meeting normally, or if you aren't sure if you want to sign up for a role. And it's where you go, you can just select an agenda. There should be a following week's agenda on the website. You can select, let me go to a different week. If you go to a different week, you can see that a lot of the roles aren't taken. You can sign up for whatever role. And importantly, if you're a speaker, it's where you go to update your speech title and project number. As we can see, thankfully for Max, has an example here where he is doing his 9th Competent Communicator speech, and he already put in his title, One's Own Worst Enemy. So that's where you go for speeches. Another important thing about our website would be the member downloads. So in the member downloads, you have a lot of information that you're able to access. There's a lot of stuff here. So for example, there's a PDF that has give me a second here. It has all of our roles that you can take during the meeting, and it goes really in depth about what you can do with each role. I'm not going to go through this right now, but it's there if you need it. Other stuff is we have our agenda template for if you're a Toastmaster, and other information that I will go into later. So next I'm going to get into each individual role. The Toastmaster is responsible for these things. They send out the weekly meeting email. You guys would have seen Priya send it out this week. She asked people to join or take roles and stuff like that. They set the theme of the meeting, which is goals today. They set the word of the day. They send emails to speakers to remind them to update their speech titles and project numbers. They fill out the agenda with the agenda template that I showed for you and send it to me, and then they eventually run the meeting. So we also have a Google Drive document for being a Toastmaster. And I'm not going to click on this link because if you go to this nice handy dandy member downloads, if you go down to Toastmasters checklist, you download this, it has a Word document that has the link to our Google Docs. So next is the speaker. The speaker is really basic stuff. You prepare and give a speech. You need to remember to fill out your title and project number. And it's important to remember that you have to print out an evaluation form. Now, an evaluation form, it corresponds to whatever speech you're giving, and it should be in your pathways, which I will go into later. You should be able to find your evaluation form and print it off there. If, however, you can't use pathways for some reason, you're able to just Google your project name, and then you should be able to find the evaluation form.
I think it's on the agenda too. If you go to our website.
Agenda? Okay.
Yeah. So you go back to the agenda.
Agenda.
I just saw it last time. Next to the speaker. Go to one that's filled out. Yeah, evaluation form.
You can just print off your evaluation form there. So thank you, Lewis. And then next grammarian. Vicky introduced it pretty well today. You just introduced the word of the day, comment on proper use of language, and count the word of the day uses. Timer, Ted introduced it pretty well. They just time the participants, signal them with the green card at minimum time, yellow card, medium time, red card, overtime. Table Topics Master. The Table Topics Master creates questions based on the meeting theme, preferably. You don't necessarily have to, but it's preferred. They call people up to give them an impromptu speech. Other clubs don't necessarily force people to come up and give speeches, like they ask for volunteers or stuff. Our club personally prefers to do this because we are a college club and we are trying to prepare our members to potentially be in interviews where they're asked questions that they're not necessarily familiar with and need to be able to just come up with stuff on the spot. An important thing to do if you're the Table Topics Master is to try and call on the people that are members of the club that don't have roles in the meeting. So we would like to start with getting all of those people out of the way, then you can start calling on people that have roles and so on and so forth. The general evaluator calls up each speaker's evaluators, so the evaluator can evaluate the speeches. They ask for the timers and grammarians report, and they give a evaluation for the meeting. So what went wrong, what went well, so on and so forth. An evaluator evaluates the speaker. They want to make sure the speaker is meeting their project requirements. Each speech project has specific things you want to achieve. So the evaluator is checking if the speaker hits those boxes. And why did I write 2 to 3 speeches? The evaluator needs to have given at least 3 speeches in our club to be an evaluator. And then now to pathways. So I want to pull up this. So this is the overall Toastmasters website. To access pathways, you log in. I'm going to log in here. And then you go to the Pathways tab, and then you would go to access my path through Basecamp. If you're like me and haven't chosen your path, it will ask you to go to your path selection and then take an assessment. And this is essentially a quiz that tells you what path would be most suitable for your aspirations. So that, and then once you fill this out, you can access what's called Basecamp. Now, what's Basecamp, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, I haven't been using it, but there's a lot of resources out there for you to understand Basecamp. Vicky, thankfully, has created a website that has a lot of this information. So, this is also in a Word document on our membership download, so you can just go there and find this link. Go to the link.
Exit the text box.
Exit text box.
Press control
I
before
am
you.
I'm pressing F then. That's awkward.
Why don't you just copy and paste?
No, you're smart.
If you go full screen.
Oh, that's not. So, on this link, you have the pathways overview. It tells you about pathways. It has this thing while it's loading. It goes through and tells you all about the different paths. So if your assessment doesn't necessarily give you the path that you want, you can come here and take a look at all the other paths we have to offer and choose the one that you feel you want to do. And lastly, there's this link, which is a tutorial on how to use the Toastmasters website, as well as navigate through, choose your paths, and navigate through your Basecamp, how to access all your projects, view your projects, and so on and so forth. And with that, I'm going to end it, so thank you.